we're going to have a little discussion here.
Hello.
I have before all of us Stephanie Tusman, our CEO, President and CEO, Josh Pianco, our outgoing board chair. Those are the words that every board chair lives for. Immediate past board chair. And of course, please welcome with a great hand of applause up there and down here, our incoming board chair, Bruce Goldman.
Thank you.
So in many ways, I know it's a funny thing, isn't it? Oh, okay, there you go, all right. So in many ways, I will tell you that whether you're the president and CEO of this organization, or whether you are on the board and ultimately the board chair, this job is not something you choose. It never happens that way. And in fact, the job chooses you. The funny thing is that everyone on the board and the executive committee knows that you are going to be chosen. You're the only one who doesn't know that you are going to be chosen. And the same too for the president and the CEO. So Stephanie, I'm going to start with you and I'm going to work my way down. I just want to say this is so joyful for me because I've just binge watched the morning show and I am so at home with a microphone in my hand. I can hardly wait for this. So Stephanie, congratulations and a mazel tov. You have just re-signed your contract for Jewish Nevada. You've had great vision thus far. So you stepped into this job and you have grown. What is your vision for 2022?
Wow, that's a really tough question. Look, I think in this work, so first of all, thank you, Marla. I think this is so fun. Usually we just have the incoming and outgoing board chair speak and stand at a podium. This is such a different way of doing this year and really fun and exciting. I agree that this work chooses you, that you do not choose it. I was chosen for this work. I happen to really love it and enjoy it, and I'm very much looking forward to the next 3 years and beyond. So I thank the board for investing in me and the community for partnering with me on this journey. It's really been incredible. I think over the last 2 years, since the pandemic hit, if anything has taught me is that, you make a plan and God laughs because the vision and the plans that we had seemed to fall out the window as we dealt with what is becoming our new reality. So I'm really incredibly proud of the things that we've accomplished over 2021, in particular, opening an office in Northern Nevada, and I see Mara Langer on there. That was a goal, that was a vision of ours to expand. We have always been a statewide organization, and it wasn't until February 2021 that we were able to really solidify our position in Northern Nevada. Mara's been wonderful. And then in July of 2021, we integrated with Hillel of Northern Nevada. And so Addie, who is our Hillel director, is a full-time staff member, and that has been really amazing too. So my vision for the future, because I know that's what you asked, is to continue to grow and strengthen our organization, our community, to position us to engage more people, to engage more donors, to really to reach more corners of our statewide Jewish community. How we do that is yet to be determined. We have lots of things in place, but I am so grateful. I don't know if you're going to ask anything about this, but so grateful to have the team that I have, exceptional professionals at Jewish Nevada working alongside me. Really, yes.
I would add that it takes a great leader to be able to retain a great staff.
Thank you.
So
well, we're going to accomplish great things this year. Thank you.
Well of Stephanie. Yes, thank you. Let me ask you, I think of myself when I had a full-fledged family at home. And I just don't know that I had the capacity to lead in the way that you do. And I think that as an inspiration to other young families, whether you're the father or the mother. Um, what is that like for you? I have yet to ever seen Stephanie not pick up her phone. I have yet to never see Stephanie jump forward. She's always reachable. I happened to call her at her uncle's funeral, and she picked up the phone just to say, I can't talk. I'm at my uncle's funeral in Detroit, by the way, in Detroit. But what is it like juggling for you, family, and an entire community?
Some days are much easier than others. I won't lie about that. But this work is my life. This is my passion. This is my life. And any opportunity I get to bring my family into this work, I take. My husband is here tonight. Usually my children attend community events when appropriate. Saturday was a difficult day for everybody throughout the country as we dealt with what was happening in Texas. And I was waiting on emails from Jolie and from Beth while my 18-month-old was in the bathtub and I had the computer on the toilet and like trying to, manage all of that. And yeah, some days are harder than others. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think this is a new era that we're in and we can do it all.
There you go. And with that, I think we should also give an applause to John Tesman, who is
my
here.
husband deserves an
because
applause.
every spouse makes sacrifices for the others, so that's wonderful. So Josh,
Yes.
I have heard it said, yes, you're on. I've heard it said, and I know it to be true, and Bruce, you'll want to think about this as well, is that it is remarkable, this was told to me by a great rabbi, that it is remarkable that things always happen during your term that you could have never imagined. But it always seems like Hashem puts the right chair in the right place at the right time. So this was 2 years that you could have never imagined. I'm sure you had a vision for what you wanted to do. But the fact is, you were placed in a position at a very pivotal moment. All of us were, and you will be too, Bruce. Believe me, it'll happen to you too. But this was amazing. And when you look back on this last 2 years, I'm sorry. I know. Josh and I have this joke because he would have never been here if I hadn't kicked him through that door. And then once he got through that door, boy, did he rise up for us all. But tell me what the last few years has been like.
First, 5 years ago when Marla, I think almost 6 years ago, when she asked me to join the allocations committee, and she said, we really need help here, just getting a little bit involved. I'm not asking for too much. Lo and behold, 6 years later, pandemic, rise of anti-Semitism, Israel issues, you name it. And yeah, thanks, Marla, appreciate it. But she's right, it is a calling. And the words you said, passion. I think since I was born, I've had a passion for being Jewish. And I think all of us have that passion. The question is whether one is believing in ourselves, that we have that passion, and how do we tap that passion? We all share something so interesting in the Jewish community, and that is our gift of charity. And so with that said, I'll get to your question, but I want to thank, one is my wife, Jessica, and my children, Sadie, Charlotte, Jason, and Nathan, for allowing me the opportunity to serve. Thank you. The second is I want to thank you, right? All of the state of Nevada, from Reno to Las Vegas, have given more, whether it's you've been giving money for 20, 30, 40 years, some givers, I think even 50 years have been giving money, to whether it's money, whether it's time, but because of all of you, we are here today. Not only here, thank you, but not only here, but we're thriving. We're thriving with Marla's leadership 5 years ago and the people that she stood on shoulders of. and now in the future with Bruce's leadership. But we're here because of our passion for being Jewish and our passion of charity. And that's how I came into this. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to not only expand, I think we had 800 givers 6 years ago. Now we're over 1,250 givers.
That's worth an applause right there.
That is a worthy applause. But, you know, the thing that I've always been told is that if you don't remember the past, right, you're doomed to do it again and again and again and again. And whether you're at Yad Vashem or you're in a Holocaust exhibit here in the state of Nevada, you have to remember that if it's not us, then who? Right? If it's not us, then who? If we can't support ourselves, then who will support us? So it's with that in mind that I said, I have to do this. I have to help. I have to do whatever it is that I can with my family's blessing, with the community's blessing. I have to do what I can to help this community move forward.
It's beautiful. Thank you. I want to move on to Bruce, but before I do, I want to say this about Josh's leadership. You know, we all will at times have limited beliefs about what can be done for either in our own careers, in our own lives, and in our own community. For years, we absorbed a limited belief that there had been, and I need to look backwards in order to look forward, that there had been a chasm in our community between peoples of different sectors, and that we would never be able to get the trust and appreciation of the rabbis in this community. And that went on for many years. But I will say that Josh had a belief system that not one iota of that was true. And he was given the gift of leadership that was able to create a bridge of love, respect, passion, and giving, to which I can tell you there is not a rabbi that I have seen in this community over the last 2 years when Josh has been at the lead and followed in step with Stephanie's belief in you as well, and how difficult it is to change a belief once you have it. And those rabbis have approached me to say, thank you so much for what Jewish Nevada has done for us. Thank you for the help that you have given. Thank you. Josh is doing such a great job. Stephanie is doing such a great job. Your board is wonderful. And I really just want it to be said out loud that that ideal that we can unite as one people was truly hammered in and worked and put into effect by Josh in the last 2 years. And I really, this community thanks you for that. Go ahead.
Thank
Yes, microphone.
I don't know if you're coming back to me at all. I'm not sure, but I do have to take a minute to also acknowledge Josh, but also to recognize Jessie and the kids. And I see her on the screen. Oh, she's there. I just saw her a second ago. Shoot. Okay. Well, I did have her, and she was with. Anyways, because it really is a full-time job, and not just for me, but for my partner in leadership. And not to scare you, Bruce, but we talk a lot, and Josh and I communicate regularly. And the early days are difficult of getting to know one another. It's a dance, and anyone who has worked with a lay leader, a partner in this work, knows exactly what I'm talking about. That there are disagreements, there are moments that you question why you're doing this and all of those things. Josh, you pushed me to every limit, challenged me far beyond what I ever could have imagined, and taught me things I never would have thought, that I would have learned from you. So thank you. Really, truly thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's been so fun. And I said to John last night, like, this is not easy. Like getting a new chair is a transition that I'm looking forward to. But after you spend 2 years with somebody, and
And what is
especially
that
like
like? Really, what is that like? Because I know no other job really where the person that you answer to one-on-one changes every 2 years, 3 years, four, in my case, 4 years, but
Right.
Well, she
Who's
doesn't know
counting?
yet, quite frankly.
What-
She
well,
doesn't know. Do you
no,
know?
well,
Well, yeah, actually, you
listen,
transitioned
yeah,
from you
the-
to me. Yeah.
yeah, that was
I
a
know.
rough one.
That was a
Yeah,
rough one.
yeah, that was a rough
Yeah,
one.
no, there are some learning curves, as with anything, and we have to figure each other out, and it's a balance. But as you said, like you were chosen to do this. Bruce is in it, and you're gonna get to know him. He is in it, just as Josh was in this. So to have a partner who is dedicated and committed to this work as much as I am, like that's what you can hope for.
But you bring up a very good point, and I think one of the things that we've done as a board and as a community is we've put in infrastructure, and that infrastructure, whether it's having gifts now that when we ask for gifts, we now ask for multi-year gifts, right? So that we know and we could plan years ahead, right? This is a great idea and thing that we're bringing forward. We've downsized our team. We've consolidated. We expanded up to Reno and Northern Nevada and added a professional, Mara, there, which you spoke of before. We've consolidated Hillel of Northern Nevada and Southern Nevada, right? We've integrated with them. We've integrated the JCC over the last 3-4 years. So we've now created an infrastructure that regardless of who comes in, that infrastructure will last. So all the things that we've created together, right, over these few years, all of us, right? The board include everybody, all of us. The infrastructure that we put in place is bigger than all of us. And that it sets up this community for such a bright future, truly. And I applaud all of you. I mean, I came in here like a crazy man. I had all these wonderful ideas, and I said, hey, I'm going to do all these things. You guys all looked at me like, what? And we did it. And we did all of these things in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
Right? We did it. We did it.
So I want to listen. It's actually hard to leave, isn't it? I was worried about that when it came to your time. It's why I stepped so far away at the time, because I wanted to give you that opportunity. But on this night, you're not really sure if the night is all about you because you're leaving, or if the night is all about you because here you are. And so we want to give this moment now to you, Bruce, because this begins your journey, and only God knows what it will be, because it's part of it you'll know and you'll do anyway, and the other part is in God's hands. But I want to say this about both Josh and Bruce. So I was treasurer of this organization before I stepped into vice chair and campaign chair. I have a master's equivalency degree in accounting, but there is nothing I detest more than being in charge of all of your finances. It worried me to death. And I will tell you that when I left and went into the vice chair position, Bruce Goldman has been our treasurer for this organization since that day, which might be 8 years, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. This is what is remarkable to me about Bruce, and I would say it about Josh as well, is that they both have a unique ability to mesh together science and creativity and art when it comes to money, when it comes to finance. It is poetry when it hits their hands. And Bruce has done some remarkable things for this organization just by the way in which he has managed the money of this organization. And so that you are leaving that position, I think we should first thank you for the 6 years that you have spent making poetry out of the financial stance of Jewish Nevada. Do you like that? Only a girl would say poetry, but it is true. So I reading in your bio that since you were a young child, you were taught about giving back. You were taught the importance of what it means as a Jew to give. And I want you to tell a little bit about your story, but if you got that as a child, and I know that your father lives here. Is he here tonight?
No, he's here, but he's 95, so he wasn't able to be here tonight.
So is he watching?
He's not tech savvy.
He's
to
not tech
watch.
savvy either. Well, I think we owe a wonderful gratitude to your father. I was hoping that maybe he was here. Is Lisa here tonight?
No, she's not.
Okay, all right. Well,
That's my wife.
I wanted to be able to acknowledge
That's
your
okay.
family if they were here. Okay. But you still, throughout your career and in retirement, really believe in the gift of giving. And so, for everybody's benefit, tell us just a little bit about that journey for you.
So I was born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago, predominantly Jewish area. I kind of took my Judaism for granted. I remember like the 67 war and the 73 war when, you know, we're all on our edge and we all kind of felt together. It was kind of when I felt like, hey, we're all in this together type stuff. But, you know, I went through Hebrew school, hated it.
Welcome to
You
the
know,
crowd.
and all that stuff. So as soon as I was bar mitzvah, I was done. But when I was on my 21st birthday, my mother sadly passed away, and she was only 44. And for some reason, and she was the more religious in my family. And for some reason, I thought I needed to go say Kaddish every day. I was actually in law school then, and the Hillel at school managed to get a minyan together for me every day, and which was really impressed upon me the importance of each of us helping each other out. And I had an aunt who was really involved in Federation in Chicago, and that's where I learned a lot from. And as soon as I started to work, I said, how can I get involved? So I really became involved in the Chicago Federation. I was head of the child care agency. I oversaw a merger between the child care agency and the family service agency there. I was on the board for 20 years in Chicago, which is a large federation. I was on the national cabinet. I was a Wexner scholar. So I've been enmeshed in the philanthropic world, and I just love it, and I enjoy it because I get so much from it. And so I left Chicago when I retired about 12 years ago, came to Nevada. I actually have a couple other places where I live, and you know, I immediately started to give here, and the CEO here at that time was the CEO from Chicago called him up and he asked me to be on the board because he knew I had a lot of experience. So I've been on this board for like a dozen years almost, but I've been like the old gray hair on the board. Josh has brought a lot of young people in, which is great, and I look forward to working to. But I haven't been here full time, but I've been involved in the board and I've been available for everything. And I also was fortunate the past couple of years to have built a synagogue, in charge of building a synagogue in Scottsdale. And the thing that I can remember most about that is on the Shabbat that we opened, I saw, you know, it was filled with joy and everything. I saw the rabbi from across the room. We kind of met in the middle of the crowd and we hugged each other when we were crying. And those type of things keep me going. You know, I know that we've had terrible things over the weekend, but there's so many positive things that we can do together and make good mitzvahs together, and that's what keeps me going.
Wonderful. I love the world of Jewish geography, but I noticed that you just mentioned your aunt, and we were together, or Shelley and I were together or something, and we were talking, and it just so
Right.
happens that your aunt and Shelley know each other quite well.
Yeah, my aunt was a full-time philanthropic helper. That was she dedicated her life to, and I learned it from her. And she had been with Shelley. She was a good friend of Shelley's, and she like started the first women's PAC in the United States that supported Israel and the right to choose. So it was a big PAC, and it was the first national PAC for that. And she was a dynamo, and and Shelley and I speak fondly of her often.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Shelley, for that. Yeah, that's great. So, as you embark on this, you don't actually live here full time.
I'm going to be here a lot more now.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And I'm looking forward to it. My dad's 95, so I'm going to spend time with him. And I look forward to meeting more people in the community. The more people, the more time I've been here, there's been great people. And that's part of my mission, to meet people, reach out and see what we need and try and make it better.
Well, I'm really proud to announce that I got a call from one of our wonderful rabbis in the community and said, I can't make it to the meeting Tuesday night. Can you set me up with Bruce? I would love to meet him. And I got rave reviews, rave reviews. So that was really nice. And it's great that you're able to step in and keep that bridge being built that Josh began, which is a wonderful thing. Did you want to say something? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so, you know, when Bruce, the thing about Bruce, which I love, is he's incredibly thoughtful. Not only thoughtful in how he speaks, if you hear how he speaks about giving, if it doesn't move you, then you're made of stone. Okay? He gives because he sees the impact that it has on other people. And that's how you're supposed to give. That's why you give. And what we accomplished together, I mean, think about this, right? As an executive committee and as you and I, we integrated JCC, we integrated Hillel, we brought in SCN Network, so now we have a full-time person in the state of Nevada that will protect. I said that 2 years ago. Remember, we said we need someone here. Anti-Semitism's on the rise, and we need someone here to help this community, to help ADL with this growth of anti-Semitism in the state and around the world. And so we did. We brought someone in, right? We did. And then the other thing that I'm probably the most proud of, and this comes to Bruce acumen with numbers and so on, is when you talk about success, right? 5 years ago, the Jewish Family Services, right? Jewish Family Services, we were about 80% of their budget. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
And we went through the numbers and said, how do we fix this? Like, how do we get them to do it? And we changed the way we gave. We changed our allocation process with Julia and with your support, and we changed in the board and Josh Milan, and we changed this wonderful way we gave money. And we said, you know what? What we need to do is what we're asking of our givers now. We need to tell them that they no longer have to worry about the lights, the rent, paying the essential staff, doing those things. They need to concentrate solely on their mission. Solely on their mission. And do you remember when we went through the allocation process this year, do you remember they went from a $1 million budget to what's their budget this year?
Probably $8 or $9 million.
$8 or
worth
$9
an
million.
applause.
We went from, you ready for this? We went from 80% of their budget to 5%. That's because of you. I mean, you can't ask for a better success than that, right?
Yeah, it was great. They learned how to go out and get government grants and stuff, and we supported them all that, and they've grown. They're bigger than us, which is great.
So now we're going to have to chase them.
That's right.
Right? That's a little mission for you.
Is there anything any of you, either of you, would like to say before we close this tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to give some kudos to Josh in that, in this COVID period, immediately he said, we've got to put aside some money for COVID relief for people in the community. We gave $250,000 for that. And he trusted me to say, it's okay to give it, because I knew where all the money was. And recently we just allocated another $100,000 to help people because of the new wave that's coming. And getting the security director in, we had to find that in the budget, and we managed to do that. So we have a full-time security person here to protect our community. So our community can feel protected, and we will enjoy the good times instead of worrying about it.
And if that's not poetry, I don't know what is. Right?
Yeah.
If that's not poetry, I don't know what is.
But one unexpected thing, and Marla said at the beginning, was that this job chooses me. I never expected to be chosen to be the chairman of this Jewish Nevada, because I wasn't here full time, and I didn't know as many people in the community as Josh or you or other people on the board. So I didn't expect it to be me, but I felt so honored with the role. And I talked to people on the board and all of you guys, and you said you'd help me meet people in the community. So I'm really excited to do that and look forward to doing that. And hopefully can help make this a better community.
Bruce, so much.
Thank you. So,
And to all of you, both watching from home, or we can see you on the screens, and those of you that are seated here, Bruce, Stephanie, everyone on the board expects you to help Bruce get to know anybody and everybody that you know so he can help make Jewish Nevada bigger and stronger than ever before.
amen.
Amen.
Just
Absolutely.
want to say, just with parting, okay? Because I won't get this opportunity to say it in front of so many people. Steph, it has been an honor working with you. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, from calling you at all hours of the day to saying, hey, what about this? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? You know, I think it was in February. I just had gotten home from, I think, Harvard, and I said to you, I think this thing's going to be really bad. I think this pandemic, I think it's going to be a pandemic, and I think we've got to get prepared for this thing. And I said to Steph, I said, we have to do something now. We have to come out strong. We have to lead. I said to Bruce, I said, what do you think about if I said, I think we have $13, $14 million in our endowment. And I said to Bruce, I said, we will empty every single dollar to protect this community. And you said, yes, we will. And I said, that's what we do. That's what we do. And we told the rabbis, we convened the board of rabbis, and we said to them, we're here for you. Now, how do we do that, right? It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to deliver on that idea. And then you started right away, how are we going to do this? And you got Megan and Julia and your whole team, Andrew, everybody got involved. Tracy, all down the line. I'm sorry if I left any of you out, but you are such an incredible group of people that stepped up in the middle. And you not only had fear for the community, but you had fear for your own family. At the time, you were wiping down, right? You were wiping down food and thinking that this is the end of the world. And
Drinking Clorox.
right? Don't do that. Don't drink Clorox. But I mean, at that time, where so many people looked inward to protect their own family, what does this group do? They looked outward. That's leadership. That's leadership. And I led. You can thank me and say what a great leader I was, but the truth is, you guys delivered. Without you, there is no leading. So from the bottom of my heart, I know Bruce, from Marla, past board chair, now immediate past board chair, and new board chair. Your team is incredible. You are incredible. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
So, Stephanie and Bruce, you have a gift on behalf of the board that I think you would like to give to Josh. So I'll let you stand up, all of us, and get that gift. Or do you want us to walk over there, Steph? Is that okay? Okay.
Okay.
As she walks it over, I just want to say from the
Karen.
words of Josh that this work is about trusting with certainty beyond reason that we can deliver.
That's it.
I wanted to invite Karen up because as our vice chair, she's going to continue this work with Bruce, excuse me. But she had the opportunity to work with Josh over these last 2 years. So I want her to present this gift to you. Josh, even though you are physically leaving our community, I guess, as you moved, yes, you will still be around, but please take this as a
thank
sign
you so
of our
much.
appreciation.
I appreciate that.
Let me give you a hug.
Oh, a hug. I'll take one. Thank you. So, just before I go, thank you. Come on in. This is. Thank you.